Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the C.R. Lawrence OP30 is what this pivot is. This happens to be a left hand in a DU finish or dark bronze. And let's go over that now. So first and foremost, the most important thing to know is that it's the OP30, and the OP30 is a reference to the dimensional properties of the pivot, its application, etc. Now, the OP30 also means that it's a handed pivot, so you'll have left hand and right hand. This video is for a left hand. This pivot's also available in the AL for aluminum finish, or the A finish, and then the DU for dark bronze. And let's go over all of that now. Before we get to the individual parts, which I'll show you them one at a time, there is, in the extended description below this video, all of the important dimensional properties, and I'll touch on them now in the video just to verify that what is published from the manufacturer is primarily accurate. This is a 3/4 inch offset pivot, which means that the dimension from the face of the door to the vertical axis of pivoting is 3/4 inch, and we'll go over that in a moment. These are indeed handed. This pivot design allows for an 1/8 of an inch vertical adjustment. I'll show you that more in a moment. Suitable for doors and frames up to 125 pounds. This is a flush with face frame sort of application, and what that means is there's no inset, meaning that if you were to stand on the pull side of the door and run your hand over the face of the door and frame, the door is flush with the face of the frame, whereas it's typical that you will have inset applications like you would on metal doors or hollow metal doors. So just be aware of the fact that this is a type that is a flush frame installation, used on Arcadia, arch aluminum, Tubalite, and Vista wall sorts of applications. Now let's get down to it. Starting at the bottom of the door, and we'll work our way up. Here is the floor portion. And this is what it will look like to you. Okay, so from your perspective, this is the door, and from your perspective it's a right hand reverse, but if I were to put it this way, it would swing towards me, and that's what makes it a left hand. Also the cheat on the side that it's L, but this is a left hand. The frame will sit here, your door will sit out here, and the door will swing out this way. Now that 1/8 of an inch vertical adjustment comes from loosening the set screw, turning the bottom spindle, and that's where that 1/8 of an inch adjustment is going to come in, because you'll set it, you'll loosen the set screw, set your height to be perfect, and then tighten the set screw down is where you're going to be with that. Okay. Let's get some generic dimensional properties of the item. Overall of the pivot, 2 15/16, and that certainly matches. You got a width of the floor portion, about 1 5/16. You have a height of the full portion that goes behind the jamb, an overall height of about 1 13/16. Now that 3/4 inch offset is a reference from where the face of the door falls to the vertical axis of pivoting, which is right down center in here. Okay. That's what that means, that it's a 3/4 inch offset pivot. Okay, so now moving up the door, you're going to have your floor, your door portion for the bottom pivot assembly. That's going to sit right in there, real nice and easy. Very typical sort of installation is what you're going to see here. Okay. Now let's give you some dimensions of this material. Overall width, about 1 3/8. Overall height, about 1 3/4. And then you can see from the top where the screws fall in, about 5/16 of an inch, and then about 1 1/8. And then the projection of the item, about 1 1/4. And frankly, providing all this so that it will just help determine if it's the proper item for you. Here is the top of the door portion. Overall width, 1 3/8. Overall height, and again you can see where the screw holes fall in, 1 1/2, 1 3/4. Projection of the top spindle, about 9/16. Projection is going to be the same at about 1.25 inches. Then you have the header portion, and that is going to slide into the notch that's been provided in the face of the header. And then, of course, your screws, which we'll go over in a moment. Your entire assembly will look like that. Nice and clean appearance. Give you some dimensions of this. Two and 1/8, 2 3/16. Overall height at the top of this item, about 7/8. Again, 3/4 inch offset, and you can see where that is derived from. Again, the face of the door to the center line. So from the back side of that, you can study where your screw holes fall in. Okay. About 1 1/8 inches. It's handy to have the dimensions. It confirms the accuracy of the manufacturer's published material, is just simply why. You're going to get screws for everything as well. Obviously, the hex cap screws that are unfinished, or the ones that are not in a complementary or matching finish, that's going to be to go inside of the tube of the door and to hold your door portions on. The rest of the screws are going to be used for attaching the frame components, of course, down to the frame. There is a link below this video to the ability to create a printable cut sheet of the image of the item along with the dimensional properties. And then finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full line C.R. Lawrence catalog. And the name C.R. Lawrence is, in my industry experience, is primarily associated with glass hardware, shower door hardware, any sorts of glass partition work that's going to be done with clamps, hinges, gaskets, push and pull trim as well. But C.R. Lawrence also owns that original name of Jackson, and they have all of the Jackson hardware under it, the pivots, the door closers, the exit devices, things of that nature. On that link below this video to the manufacturer's page, where you can pull up all of the subsections currently of the C.R. Lawrence catalog. And you're going to want to drill into only the subsections, because each of those subsection catalogs is in itself its own full-line catalog. The full-line C.R. Lawrence catalog is thicker than the phone book. If you have any questions on the C.R. Lawrence OP30LH in a DU finish, a dark bronze left-hand 3/4 inch offset pivot, or any other C.R. Lawrence product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.